All right, welcome back, everybody. We are back on the Top Agent Podcast with your co-hosts. I'm Ryan Espey, joined by my other host, Stacey Regula. Stacey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. And we are joined with our special guest today, Miss Nikki Burgess. Nikki, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we know a little bit about you, but we need to share this with the audience. So we know you're in real estate, but let's talk about life before real estate.
All right.
What did you do? Did you have a career previous to getting into the business?
So I was pretty young when I got into real estate, but I did. I had worked for the Royal Bank for a few years before taking a position actually with Enterprise Rent a Car and moved into management with them. And I was living in Regina actually just before I decided to take my real estate license, and so I had a little bit of background, but I was pretty young when I got started, so I've had a long real estate life. It's time to retire.
Gotcha.
So then you jumped into real estate. Why? What drew you to that?
So it's funny, my mom is a realtor and had been for years since I was a kid. And I always swore I was never going to get into real estate because her pager would go off at all hours. As kids, we would hide her pager. That's right. I said pager. We would hide it in the fridge and the freezer and wherever we could that we couldn't hear it because we hated her dinners being interrupted or movie night being interrupted. And I was like, I'm never going to do this. This is ridiculous. Who wants to live this life? And then I bought and sold my own house at 21. I bought my own house here in Winnipeg. And when I moved to Regina, we sold it shortly thereafter. And I really kind of enjoyed that process. And then in Regina, when I was there, I had a friend who was purchasing a new home, and my mom had referred the deal out to an agent in Regina, and I got to kind of help with that process as well. And as I was working with Enterprise, I was putting in really, really long hours and, working hard and putting money in somebody else's pocket. And I was like, if I'm going to work these crazy hours and work this hard, I'm going to do it for myself. And I just decided, I called my mom and I was like, I'm going to do real estate. I'm going to take my license. She's like, you're crazy. She says, don't expect me to hand you anything. You're going to have to work for it. And I took my license and came back to Winnipeg, and the rest is history. That was 18 years ago.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The family footsteps.
That's right.
So you were originally licensed in Saskatchewan?
I wasn't. No, I actually, my license always in Manitoba. I did study while I was out there, but yeah, I've only ever been licensed here. Mm-hmm.
So what ended up drawing you to eXp?
That's a good question. So I was with another brokerage for my entire career, actually, as an agent and then as a managing broker towards the end of my stay there. And I had heard about eXp. I had fellow colleagues from that company in other parts of the country move over to eXp. And initially I was like, what are they doing? And what is this company? Like, we're part of this major franchise brand. Why would they go over to this small company, in my opinion, at that time? And I kind of kept an eye on what they were doing, what they were posting, the success they were having, the alternate forms of revenue that they talked about, which kind of piqued my curiosity. And then our broker, Arena, who has always been a very good friend of mine. She was with me at our old brokerage before she moved to a different brokerage to manage there. And she came to me and said, hey, I want to let you know before you hear it via the grapevine that I've decided to leave that company and I'm opening a new brokerage. And I immediately, because of, the communication we'd had in the past and following Tim Lintick, our friend from eXp in Toronto, I was like, or Barrie, Ontario, I was like, you are opening eXp, are you? And we kind of thought it was a long shot coming to Manitoba because we didn't have e-signatures, right? We legally still had to do everything in ink. Yep. So we kind of had thought it would be a while. And then with COVID happening, that process moved along faster. But I said to her, I need to sit down with you and I need to know more about eXp and what inspired you to come over, because I've certainly been watching it and curious about it. And when she told me kind of her experience and what was exciting her about it and being I guess a woman who had never had a career in which I had a pension or alternate sources of revenue, anything like that. I was like, I will never have this opportunity with this franchise brand to build, stock options and shares with my company. I've been here for 17 years and nobody has ever said to me, here's $200 for doing your first deal this year. And could you imagine had I had that for 17 years prior and had it grown in value for me? Like I kept thinking about the money I had missed out on all of this time because eXp had not been an option for me then, right? We've only been really in Canada for the last few years. So I just thought like I was making some changes in my personal life and knew that I wanted the opportunity to have alternate income other than just my commission, and a position as a staff member opened up over here at eXp, and I couldn't resist.
So you've been with eXp how long then?
I joined in February of 2021.
So you were right at the beginning of it coming to Manitoba then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when you jumped ship and joined eXp, what changed for you?
Working full-time from home. I was working in an office space all of the time. And to be honest, that was one of the things that made me most nervous. I couldn't quite figure out how I was going to not be in a bricks and mortar because we were so used to feeling like we needed an office to go to. Of course, being able to do e-signatures and the technology that eXp offers us to be able to work from home made that change very easy. And other than that, as far as selling real estate, nothing changed other than the company that I worked for. I do feel like I have more control over my business with eXp because of the systems and technology that we use. I'm not handing it off to somebody else to take care of and finish in the back end. I have access to all of it. But as far as the way I practice real estate, nothing has changed.
Yeah. Well, for you have a different role in eXp as well, with some training. Do you want to tell us a bit about that? Or
Sure. So I was the managing broker at my old company before I moved over here. And it was really important to me to continue in that kind of position. I was really enjoying it. I was new to it. I had invested in that education. And the opportunity they were launching new Agent Bootcamp here at eXp Canada. It was not something that was offered anywhere else in the world at this point for eXp. And they needed somebody to run it. And when I heard about what the program was and what the goal was of the program, I knew it was something I wanted to tackle and learn more about and get involved in. So so I'm the New Agent Bootcamp coordinator for Canada here with eXp.
Wow. So for people wondering about New Agent Bootcamp, like what's the gist of it?
Yeah. So I always tell our new agents that no matter where in the country they are doing their real estate license, they're getting the legalities of real estate. They're learning how to write contracts, the compliance issues that we have to deal with and fulfill. But they don't learn the practicalities of real estate, the things that successful agents are doing on a daily basis to remain successful and to build their business. And it's really important to us here at eXp that new agents get that foundation immediately, have access to people that have been through the trenches, have learned along the way, are able to share their tools with them, and put things into place in their business. I mentioned having more control over my business. So putting things into place in their business early in their career so it becomes second nature. It's not something you're having to relearn because nobody's doing it for you, right? You get to have full control of your business from the start. The experts are sharing with you what they've got already, so you're not having to reinvent the wheel or figure it out on your own. And really have a strong foundation for your business. The success rate in any entrepreneurial business is not great. And we want to make sure at eXp that we give our new agents the best opportunity to be as successful as they can early in their careers.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's a great program. I've seen some of the topics come by and it looks like it's helpful. The taxes is one I should probably watch as well.
I know. I say all the time, I go through the tax planning course all the time and I'm like, I really need to make some changes. Yeah. But yeah, we do everything from tax planning and realtor safety to mindset training, working with buyers and sellers, database management, business planning, lots of things. And our icon agents, our top producing agents like Ryan and soon to be yourself, Stacey, come into the program and teach our new agents what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I've never felt a more collaborative environment in real estate than I have here at eXp. I think, my success is your success and Ryan's success and vice versa. So the more we can share and help each other out, the better we become.
So question for you, because you're still actively selling real estate as well.
Yeah.
What are you doing to adapt to a changing market?
That's a good question. I think the biggest thing is going back to basics, Ryan, to be honest. I think things were moving so quickly for a long time, honestly, for the majority of my career, to be honest. There has been ebbs and flows in the market, but I would say overall, it's been a pretty busy market. So going back to basics and making sure that I have checklists of how I'm connecting with my clients, letting them know on a regular basis what's happening in their marketplace, and the communication. I've had to pay attention and make sure I'm communicating on a more regular basis, because often our turnaround, especially with sellers, was, a week, 2 weeks from the time you kind of got things started to the time they had an offer on the table and firmed up. And now can be a really long process. No matter how great their home is and how well it's priced, it can take longer. So going back to the basics of communicating, not better. I think I've always been a good communicator, but more regularly, and making a note of making sure I'm checking in, diarizing it so that I don't forget. Yeah.
That's very good advice, because there's certainly an advantage to going through a time that we're kind of getting into versus always having it easy.
Yeah. And I think as the market is busy, you're constantly communicating with your clients anyways, because showings are coming in, 10 a day, and you're always in communication and things are happening really fast. And now you can go days without showings, and you don't want your clients to think that you've forgotten about them or that something's wrong. And so, really paying attention to the overall stats that we get from our real estate board, so that I can communicate those things to our clients and let them know that they're not alone. It's not just them that are experiencing this change. It's an overall market change. And then honestly, the collaboration in eXp world, I love hearing from our agents in this virtual environment from all across Canada and listening to some of the challenges and successes they're having, and being able to share that with my clients. Despite getting on a Google call like this, or maybe a phone call with a couple of agents before, I never had the opportunity to sit in a classroom with 100 of my colleagues across the country in a virtual world. So being able to have that conversation this morning, I was on a call with probably 30 of our icon agents from across the country and talking about the changes in the markets all over the country. So the collaboration helps me be better in my business too.
100%. This morning, Ryan and I sat down and made a list of goals for each for the week. So now we're going to hold each other accountable for making sure we get them done. So
one of our people that comes in to do our mindset training, which is coming up in our boot camp next Thursday, our live sessions, he talks about a win the day list. And I liked that, because I often like to set a goal and then I get partway through the week and think, shoot, I've got to catch up. I didn't do what I needed to. And so he does a win the day list, not a to-do list, a win the day list. The things I need to do to feel like I've accomplished what I needed to in the day. And I really like that kind of checking in daily on
it's great. And those are all things I definitely did not do before eXp. So this kind of question is similar to what we've already been talking about, but what advice would you give agents to become top producing realtors?
Oh my goodness. What advice would I give them to become top producing? Get involved, I think. It is probably the simplest statement I could give you. Get involved in the training that's being offered to you. Get involved with your peers in your own province. Get involved in community events. Get involved here at eXp within your sponsor group and hear what's going on with agents across the country and know who you can reach out to for help. Get involved in your community events, in your kids' lives and activities, and let people know what it is that you are doing in real estate, and let them know that if they are, have real estate questions, that you can answer them for them. Get involved. We live in a virtual environment here at eXp as far as staff and a community goes, but being belly to belly with people is how we become successful in real estate. And you have to get involved and be in person with people. And thank goodness, COVID is almost over and has allowed us to kind of get back to those principles. But get involved, be active. It's so easy. I often relate it to our new agents. This was a long time ago in my life, but going from high school where the teachers cared if you showed up and you handed in assignments and did whatever, to going to university where nobody cared if you showed up and you could waste months before it ever mattered. Real estate is the same thing. Nobody is going to pay attention to your day-to-day if you're doing your win the day list other than you. You have to be accountable to yourself. So getting involved, finding accountability partners like you guys are doing, setting goals and having somebody to team up with, maybe not in the traditional team sense in real estate, but having a partner in it makes a big difference.
Yeah, that's great advice. Got me all amped up. Now I want to do these things. I gotta go. I got work to do.
It's make a win the day list, Stacey.
Yeah.
So we have some deeply personal questions that we're now going to ask you.
Okay. Oh boy, have you been watching my TikTok?
I have. Your TikTok.
I know you have.
What is your favorite movie?
Oh, what is my favorite movie? Okay, the one I've watched a million times. I'm a big Disney fan. I'm going to say the newest live action Aladdin is probably the one I like to watch the most.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've not seen that yet.
I know it's a good one. I love the way that they make the princess a strong woman, as opposed to her being a princess that a man takes care of. In a traditional Disney sense.
Nice. Well, I guess I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, do it. It's a good one.
Other than watching Disney movies, what's your favorite thing to do when you're not doing real estate?
That's a good question. I've had to recently look at my life and figure out what it is I like to do when I'm not running around with my kids and taking care of them. But I'm a runner. I say that with caution because I'm slow, but I love to run. I love setting those goals and accomplishing, crossing finish lines. And I'm currently working to combine those two. I'm heading to Disney at the beginning of November. My two passions, and I'm going to do a Run Disney race weekend. So I have a 5K on Friday, a 10K on Saturday, and a half marathon on Sunday. So 37 kilometers in 3 days. But I get to run through the Disney park, so it'll be a good thing. So that, and I like to travel and just I spend a lot of time with my family. We're really close.
Nice.
Now, the next one is, what book has had the most influence on you?
Oh my gosh. If I'm being totally honest, I'm not a reader. I don't have the patience to sit down and read. I love podcasts, not just because we're here on one, but I actually love to listen to podcasts too as I'm running. I find being involved in a conversation is more motivational to me than listening to music. And my favorite podcast in that case is Armchair Expert with Dak Shepard and Monica Padman. They've got a whole series of different things they go through now, but I think I like to listen to those conversations. I've heard great things about Audible too, listening to books that way.
Yeah, I want to give that a try because everyone's always talking about all the good real estate books, and I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. One of my favorite books that I probably can consciously remember reading is it was called Phone Calls from Heaven by Morley something. He also did Tuesdays with Morley, I think. Anyways, my grandma gave it to me after my grandfather passed away, and it was just a beautiful, heartwarming book, so it sticks with me.
Nice. This is a tough one.
Mm.
What is the single best piece of advice you've ever been given? Piece of advice, sorry.
Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to say, only because of I've been given a lot of advice recently, is probably self-care. And when you ask about, what I love to do for myself, it really became clear to me recently that I did things for myself, but my priority was always, my kids and my family. And I didn't really know what made me happy or what I needed to take care of myself. And I was, it's very easy in our real estate careers to stay busy and avoid taking care of yourself and maybe checking in with yourself. So I think the biggest probably lesson and advice for me is to really stop and take in the quiet and take care of yourself, because, you just are a better person for everybody around you when you do that. So it's making a big difference in my life, and it's something I've never done before. So
that is an excellent piece of advice for anyone watching.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Nikki, that is a wrap for us.
All right.
We appreciate you so much. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We've had an amazing time. And it's a shame that you're not going to join me at eXpCon next week.
I know.
But hopefully next year we will all be there together.
I keep trying to convince Meg that I should get in her suitcase or something and be there with you guys. I would love to, but she's going to be there with the Icon team to help you guys out. So you'll see her there. But yeah, I can't wait to see everybody in person. And had I not had this Disney trip planned, I would be there. But I really appreciate your guys' time and for thinking of talking to me. I really enjoyed this.
No, we've enjoyed this one a lot. And it's going to be a good one. We expect, it's going to be awesome. We love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, take care, guys. Have a great, happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes, you as well.
Bye.